Great morning and welcome to another wonderful, wonderful Sunday with Ascension Healing Fellowship. So super happy that you joined us and excited to have you here. Today we're going to be diving into some healing strategies and some ways to help facilitate growing spiritually and also growing as a person. So I hope that you have a pen and paper ready. If not, you can pause this for a moment, go get a pen and paper, and come back, because we're going to be talking about a lot of things, a lot of books, a lot of ideas, a lot of ways to help facilitate spiritual growth. To start with, we're going to do some what's called box breathing. Now, let me explain box breathing. There's a lot of different breathing techniques, okay? This is part of healing, the healing process. And the reason for that is because it stills us. It gets us in a still space where our focus is on the breath. And the breath is going to be with us until that last exhale, okay? So it is a practice of stillness. It is a practice of being still with the breath and being still in our soul so that we can open up to all that we need to learn and all that we need to grow in. Now, the way that I practice this is I practice a couple of deep breaths, and when I breathe out, I notice if there's any tension. Sometimes the tension gets right up here, sometimes right up here, and I just release it with that breath. And if I need to practice just breathing in to that place and breathing out, I breathe out through my mouth, I breathe in through my nose. So let's practice that together, and then we'll go straight into some box breathing on a 4 count. On a 4 count, okay? That means I breathe in for 4, I hold for 4, I breathe out through my mouth for 4, and I hold without breath for 4. Okay? Let's practice it together. See how it looks, all right? So we're going to breathe in deep. Feel that belly rise, that chest rise. Now breathe out through the mouth. Noticing the tension and releasing it as you go out. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in deep. Noticing the chest rise. And breathe out all that stress. Now we're going to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Out the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in for 2. Hold for 2, 3, 4, release the mouth, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 2, 3, 4. Keep going. In Isaiah 53, starts off at verse 4. It says, "Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, but he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace. And with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We've all turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has put that iniquity of us all on him. Isaiah 53, verses 4 through 6. So let me just say that everyone is healed, and yet everyone is sick. Whew, that's confusing, isn't it? What this looks like is that, remember when I was talking about sin, and I said that sin is simply that which keeps us from our inner journey. In other words, instead of healing, instead of realizing our healed state, we could easily grab a bottle when we feel pain and just slam it back, instead of asking ourselves, why do I have this pain? Where is that pain coming from? How is that pain keeping me from loving? Instead of journaling and writing about those questions and finding the answer to that, which heals us, which completes the healing, because in our human form, there's a veil between us and the divine, and that veil is the veil that we have to wear, we think we have to wear, because that's how we fit in. That's how we look right. That's how we make it in this world. But what the divine is inviting us to do is to realize our healed state. And that happens through some of the practices we're going to be talking about today, like box breathing. You see, what box breathing does is it forces you to focus on what is right here and right now. I've done box breathing at times when I was very much afraid. One of the times when I was very scared, I did box breathing, like we just practiced. And that box breathing was so helpful in just calming me down, getting me back to this moment, this breath. This breath means I have life right here, right now. And that's life. That's life. So I want to share with you the app that I use every day. It's called Insight Timer, and it is mentioned in the comments of this of the show notes on this particular message. It's called Insight Timer. Now, what I do on Insight Timer, that is, number one, my timer for my meditation. But number two, there's amazing teachers on there, and I'm going to be talking about one of them later on. Her name is Brach. Strongly recommend this amazing lady. She's phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal. I believe she's out of the Washington, D.C. area, and she has a place there where she teaches meditation and she does workshops and what have you. But anyway, Brach is just one of the many, many teachers on there. There's another amazing man. His name is Anthony Mello. Passed away in the 90s, but his teachings are on there. There's teachings there from Thich, Hahn, Jack Kornfield, a multitude of teachers. There's groups in there, groups where you can communicate with other people, other souls that are going in the direction that you're going and glean from their wisdom. It's called Insight Timer, and it looks like a big copper bowl. This copper bowl is the bowl that they use in the different meditation centers that I go to ding it, and then it lets everybody know it's time to breathe, or it's time to transition to the next movement or to the next item that we've got. So, Insight Timer, strongly recommend it. Are there other apps about meditation? Yes, there's one called Calm. I can't really speak to that. There's all different kinds of apps for that, for meditation. But find one that suits you. Now, I told you this message was going to be different, and it is. I want to talk about some books that have helped me on my journey. And there are a multitude of books. I know the book club right now is doing, I'm going to mess this up, I think, The Journey of a Yogi. I believe that's the name of it. The Diary of a Yogi. Okay, but honestly, I have not had the time to go into book club. But some amazing people are in there. Joe Kong is in there, as well as Yesenia. So you ought to really, really check it out. And I will try and have a link for you on the time that they meet next time to where you guys can get together with them. But let me go over some books and writers. Books. The number one book that really kind of helped me in a lot of ways kind of form a way of thinking that helped me, because I left the church a long, long time ago. And all I had was 7 questions and some scriptures that I felt like answered those questions. And that's on my website called begraceful.com. It's called Let the Journey Begin. But the first book that I really read that just really resonated with me was a book called Love Wins. That book is called Love Wins. And again, that's in the notes to this message as well. Love Wins by a writer named Rob Bell. Great book that I highly recommend. It asks some very interesting questions. For example, here's a question. Does God get what he wants? You see, the scripture says that it's God's desire that no one should perish. And the scripture that we just read in Isaiah said that he healed all. We've all fallen short. We've all our iniquities and all of this stuff. But we were healed. And how were we healed? Well, love wins. And that's what we saw on the cross. You see, some people, many people, in fact, Western Christianity, for the most part, sees the cross as a transaction. Jesus had to come and he had to die in order for God to love us. What if instead we see the cross as a transformation, a change in the way that we see the divine? Instead of seeing the divine as this punishing source, we see the divine hanging on a cross, letting us know that it doesn't matter what extremes we go to, they are going to hold us. Even in our death, they're going to hold us. And even in death, there's nothing to fear because the divine is always near. Wow, you didn't know I was going to be poetic today too, huh? So does God get what he wants? Great question. The book is called Love Wins, and I hope you check it out. Another book that has been really central to me and that I've really enjoyed is this one, Falling Upward. Now, Falling Upward is written by a guy by the name of Richard Rohr, R-O-H-R, prolific writer, still alive as far as I know, lives in New Mexico. Richard Rohr, R-O-H-R, Falling Upward. This is a guide to understanding the two, he calls it the first life and the second life as far as the stages, or first stage spirituality and second stage spirituality. See, the first stage of life is all about getting more and getting a house and getting a family, and getting and gaining and more and more and more. But if you stay there, you're going to get very disappointed as you get older, and you're going to get it's going to be painful. Okay, but why? Because things rot, things fall away, things leave, people die, all of that happens. So there's second stage spirituality, where, as one of his famous quotes that I love to say, he said, I've counseled a lot of people, but one of the most interesting people that I've counseled, he said, I climbed this ladder and I was going up this ladder all the time, the corporate ladder, and trying to make it big and make it big and make it bigger. And all of a sudden I found out the ladder's against the wrong wall. If you ever feel that way, that's a great book for it. This book really creates room to see the stages of life through a bigger lens. See the divine through a bigger divine, a bigger divinity. Between Love Wins and Falling Upward, they both invite us to see a bigger divinity. And this is the question that I have for a lot of people who comment negatively on my work. And I just say simply this. So what is your definition of a divine being who's beyond human mortal minds? You see, Einstein said, according to something that I read, according to Einstein, there's one of two ways to look at life. You can look at life as if everything is a miracle, or you can look at life as if nothing is a miracle. And either way, the results will be shown in your life. Maybe we need to look at God as bigger than what we think in our mortal minds. Just a thought. Other authors I would definitely investigate. Tara Brach. I know I mentioned her before. Tara Brach is on Insight Timer. She's got some amazing books. In fact, I would strongly suggest that you look up her practice of RAIN, R-A-I-N. That's an acronym, R-A-I-N, Tara Brach. It's on Insight Timer. She's got some books about it that are on Amazon. They're on Audible. They're great. Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is one of my all-time heroes. All-time heroes. An amazing Buddhist meditation teacher, an amazing Buddhist monk. He passed away within like the last couple of years. Was actually with, well, not with Thomas Merton when he passed, but he was at the same conference with Thomas Merton. Thich Nhat Hanh holds a very interesting place because he was actually thrown out of his native country of Vietnam at the same time by the Americans and the North Vietnamese because he was practicing peace too much. Can you imagine that? He was practicing peace too much. Okay. I guess some people just don't want to have inner peace. Saw this quote from Shaquille O'Neal today. He said, the older you get, the less you want drama and all of this stuff. And you just want peace, to be with people who make you laugh, to enjoy some good food and some good friends. That's all you really want. That's it. Everything else is just crap. Just crap rolled up in a sandwich. Some other authors, I just mentioned the man, Thomas Merton, amazing guy. Thomas Merton actually brought back what was called contemplative Christianity or contemplative methodology to originally the Catholic Church, and now it's kind of spreading. But the idea of contemplative is that instead of just like focusing on going and doing and checking a box and doing the right things and saying the right phrases or whatever, instead of doing all that nonsense, you actually just sit still and contemplate. And we're going to talk about that in a minute with what's called Lectio Divina. But first, let me mention another person. They actually have some teachings, and I mentioned his name earlier, but they actually have some teachings on Insight Timer as well. His name is Anthony DeMello, Demillo. The name is in the notes for this sermon, for this message. He's an interesting guy because he was born and raised in India. So he was born Hindu, but then he became a Catholic monk, but then he also became a psychologist. So he has an amazing way of melting the different wisdom text with healing practices. You're going to love this guy, Anthony DeMello. You really got to check him out. Absolutely phenomenal person that you really got to check out. Again, on Insight Timer. So, what does all this mean? Glad you asked. I want to kind of just give you a behind the scenes curtain to my daily practice, and then I'm going to give you an assignment. All right? So, my daily practice looks something like this. A spiritual pursuit is a daily practice. Let me say that first. A spiritual pursuit is a daily practice. This isn't a one magic pill that you take. This isn't a like wada 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 woo woo kind of stuff. This is a daily practice. Why? Because of that, the world. The world out there is crazy. It's busy. It's insane. I mean, I'm really got to get myself completely off the news again because I keep falling into this trap of listening or hearing something, and it's just absolutely crap. You got to understand everybody's going through their pain and everybody's going through their suffering. If you can help them, great. But make sure that you're staying centered. So, with that in mind, I'm going to share this passage. Be still and know that I am God. Wow, it's a beautiful passage. Beautiful passage. So, the first thing that I start off with early in the morning, usually around 3:30 or 4, sometimes I sleep until 5, is what's called Lectio Divina. Lectio Divina. Now, this is where I take a passage. I usually do scripture, but I also take passages from Rumi. I take things from the Buddha. I take things from all different sources that really meet me where I'm at. They really meet me where I'm at. Just like that quote from Einstein. Can I really ruminate on that? Yes. Can I do Lectio Divina on that? Absolutely. But you find a passage or some wisdom that really resonates with you in this moment. Okay? Find your favorite wisdom text. Find your favorite piece that is going to encourage peace and hope and love and grace in your life. Okay? That's what I would encourage you to do. And just sit with it. So let me take the scripture that we read earlier, and I'll give you an example. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Surely he has borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Think on this for a moment. Could it be that the divine has carried all my griefs and all my sorrows? He carried them. He held on to them and released them in his human passing. He released them. And all I need to do is realize that. All I need to do is believe that there's a love that's that deep and that big, and it's bigger than I could possibly imagine. Why? Because I have so much crap inside of me. Sometimes I feel so unworthy. Sometimes I feel so dead inside. But he bore my griefs. He carried my sorrows. My sorrows are so deep. This last Christmas, was the anniversary. It was my 50th Christmas without my dad. My dad passed when I was younger. And Jennifer heard me cry a couple of times. And I struggled. And those sorrows were carried by the divine. And boy, it took a lot of meditation to get through December. That's why I didn't post much. That's why I was kind of silent sometimes. There's days that I go without posting, believe it or not. And on those days, a lot of times, I'm struggling. Hey, if you're looking for somebody who's perfect, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not him. I'm not them. I'm not whoever you're thinking. I'm a person who struggles. But my sorrows and my griefs were bore by the divine. So I meditate on that. I sit with that. I just ruminate with that until it brings a really big smile to my face. And if I need to, I just sit with it even longer. And I just rest there. And at some time, I'll flow into meditation. Now, I've already got my insight timer up. And all I have to do is push a button and the meditation starts. And I just sit in undisturbed silence. Really, the key is to find a place where you're at a time when you're not going to be disturbed. Now, what does that look like? Well, if you're in a war zone and you're working crazy shifts, sometimes that looks like a bathroom stall. And that's okay. That's okay. I'll go in a bathroom stall for 5 minutes and have everybody look at me and I just say, yeah, I'm constipated. It's all good. It's all good. I don't care what other people think of me. What I care about is my peace and my hope in a divine who's perfect love beyond anything I could imagine. So, sit in an undisturbed place and just follow the breath. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. That meditation I did, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, is a really good one to center yourself. That's actually one of the first ones that I learned from Thich, Hahn, by the way. So just saying, you might enjoy that one. Again, that's the Insight Timer. They got some amazing classes in there. I strongly suggest just signing up. I think it's like, I don't know, $5 a month or whatever it is, but it's worth it because I do a lot of the classes in there. Next, I'm going to journal. I'm going to write about my experience. I'm going to write about something that I've seen, that I've learned, that I've heard, something that happened. Maybe it was a dream that I had the night before. That's okay too. But I'm going to journal about that. I'm going to write about that. And I'm going to journal about who I am. I'm going to journal about love. I'm going to journal about whatever I want to write about that particular morning, because that's how I keep growing in my centeredness. So That's my practice. And those are some different ways you can grow. Those are some different things that happen. Now, here's my assignment to you. My assignment to you is this. My assignment to you is to go and do likewise. My assignment to you is to let me know what your spiritual practice is. My assignment to you is to tell us about your spiritual practice. Just write it in a comment below this post. And here's why this is important. That's going to help other people. And when other people see more people are doing spiritual practices, they're going to go, oh, wow, this person does the meditation first. Then they do a book reading. Then they read their favorite passage from the Torah, or they read their favorite passage from whatever book you read. Okay, whatever book you read, whether that be a book from Islam, whether that be a book from Judah or from the Jewish tradition or the Christian tradition, or whether that just be wisdom, Stoic wisdom, from anybody, whatever it is that centers you. But people are going to see that and they're going to be encouraged to do the same. So please have a spiritual practice and please write about it. And next week, I'm going to read some passages to you. Next week, we're going to talk about some more spiritual practices that will help you along your way. I'm going to read some passages that really resonated with me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will take action, because it's in the taking action that we're going to heal. Love you guys. Chat soon.